Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and we got even more changes to a variety of different classes. Mostly to Covenant abilities for a couple classes that are either overperforming or underperforming. And it's a good thing that Blizzard is making these changes in the beta before this comes out live. I think what Blizzard is trying to avoid in the next few days is releasing all this stuff and then nerfing a bunch of things once things go live. Imagine choosing your favorite Covenant because you think the combo is really good, and then Blizzard nerfs it downstream. That would have been very, very annoying. So better get some nerfs now and buffs to certain abilities that have been underperforming or abilities that are overperforming. So that's what seems like this build is going to be mostly about. We'll cover everything that is new in case you guys were wondering which Covenants are looking good and which ones aren't. It looks like it's a lot of minor changes except for Demon Hunters and the Maldraxxus Covenant. That one is getting a slight rework, but let's take a look at everything that we have today for the video before the Shadowlands is finally released. Demon Hunters and the Necrolord Covenant isn't a combo I see often on the beta. It could be very popular and viable, and I just haven't really seen a Demon Hunter in my groups that have been playing with this one. Or if anything, I haven't seen this one a lot. Blizzard went in and changed the Necrolord Covenant slightly again. Now it's a little bit more simplified. It still spawns a demon for you to fight, but now you do significant more damage with certain abilities to this demon. The demon will last for 25 seconds, so now you have to kill it before the time is up, but abilities such as Glaive Throw do significant damage to the demon, so it's something really simple and really easy to do. After consuming the demon's soul, you simply deal more damage. In fact, you deal 30% more damage and take 50% less damage for 20 whole seconds, which timing when you kill this demon and then trying to maximize burst after killing it actually might seem like a better combo instead of all the other changes and versions of this ability that Blizzard had where you had to stay in place and there was a pool of demon blood on the floor. This is much easier for a class as mobile as Demon Hunter to get their bonus and then continue on the move. Then the ability of the Hunt has been adjusted slightly. The damage numbers of it I think are slightly bigger, or it's hard to tell if it's slightly smaller because the math sometimes is a little bit weird on Wowhead, but it does do a lot more healing. So the extra healing effect afterwards is going to be great for tanks, but also going to be great for that survivability for a Havoc Demon Hunter, maybe in PvP. I mean, 50% of the damage you do to the target is a heal, could be huge self-survivability and sustain time. Then we have a Death Knight adjustment to the Maldraxxus Necrolord Covenant. Now, depending on your spec, every 6 seconds and as soon as you press the ability, different effects for each spec are going to pop up. So for example, for Blood DK, you'll generate 3 Bone Shield charges, which means that in an opener for a boss fight, you don't really need to worry too much about generating Bone Shields. For Frost, it's going to be Rhine, which will give you free Howling Blast at an empowered rate. And for an Unholy Death Knight, that's Runic Corruption to get your resources up a little bit quicker. So now this ability is going to do slightly more damage, but also generate you other resources and or procs. So I think this is a nice change to the Abomination Limb to set it as the big button cooldown in a row of other Death Knight abilities. I've been playing with this one quite a lot, so I'm a huge fan of this change, and I think this could allow for all 3 specs a little bit extra effectiveness in their respective fields. Then we got a slight adjustment to Swarming Mist Death Knight Covenant ability from the Venthyr Covenant. It now deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets, so if you're hoping to use this one in a no-cap situation for AoE, it does take a little bit of a punch out of it, but it seems like a lot of other abilities over the last few days and weeks have been getting very, very similar treatment. So seeing something like this for this ability for Death Knight that I guess previously never had a cap of AoE is something that was to be expected. Then we have Druids with Convoke Spirits. This ability has been buffed recently for Druids, and I think at some point it used to do very, very similar thing as it does now, but Blizzard made it a little bit more consistent. Convoke the Spirits now will do 16 abilities instead of 12. So that's more abilities that will be used when you use this ability, which is an obvious buff. And they even stated that they want to make it even more consistent, so it'll try to narrow down as best as possible for your position and the form you're in to use as many abilities as it can. So if you're a Feral Druid in cat form next to the enemy, it'll obviously try to use as many cat specific abilities as possible. If you're a Balanced Druid from distance, it won't just try to heal allies, it'll try to nuke down enemies from afar. And I think what they try to do with this one is, if you arrest a druid in Mythic Pluses and you pop into cat form and use Convoke Spirits, it will adjust, seeing that you're in cat form, so you might want to perform more cat-based abilities. And if you're melee next to an enemy, it will try to shred them, but you are a Restoration Druid, so there will be some heals thrown out. So hopefully this ability, even though it's completely RNG, everything you use should have a little bit more control to what you want to do. Blizzard has been going over and buffing this ability and improving it and going through different iterations. So it's a good thing to see. I actually am very glad Blizzard took a lot of time with Convoke the Spirits. It is one of those abilities that's just complete, a mixed bag of a bunch of things that's going to be happening. So it's good that they're trying to nail it down, get it as consistent as possible. So you're not just, you know, as a feral, opening up and putting 0 bleeds and just healing yourself and your allies the whole time. I mean, that'll be a little bit weird, or just moonfiring the enemy when you're in a cat form, when you should be putting up bleeds, shreds, and bites. So it's a good thing that they improved this ability, and it synergizes really well with a variety of different talents. It's actually kind of crazy to see how many different abilities it can synergize with. So very happy to see that Blizzard improved this ability even further. Then we get small adjustments with Hunters. Death Chakram is getting tuned a little bit up in damage, as well as Wildmark also getting tuned a little bit up as well. So if you're someone who was looking to play a Hunter in the next expansion as a Maldraxian Hunter or as a Night Fae Hunter, then you should be pretty happy that both of those abilities are getting tuned up. I haven't seen too many players play with these. I think it's been a lot of Kyrian dominance, but with the recent Pelagos nerfs, I think a lot more Hunters should be on the lookout for other Covenant abilities. Then we got a pretty interesting change to Magus. Not that it's a massive nerf to the ability of Shifting Power, but it is also kind of a small nerf to it at the same time. Shifting Power is a very strong combo for particularly Fire Mages. Because of its cooldown reduction, very short CD ability, it didn't really even matter the damage of this ability, but rather what was most important is the CD reduction, which allowed Fire Mages to take advantage of a couple of the talents to give them a very short window between combustions. And with one legendary allowing them 100% crit on Pyros, giving them even more RNG chance to get that cooldown back even faster. Shifting Power is being shifted a little bit. They are adjusting the damage to be a little bit higher, and they are reducing the cooldown reduction on it a little bit. They also changing the cooldown of this ability from 45 seconds to 1 minute, so you don't get to use it nearly as often. I think this playstyle and this change is something that Blizzard is doing on purpose because a lot of Fire Mages were naturally drawn to this ability with some of the recent discoveries from the mage community. The playstyle of a legendary that allows you on a hot streak to have RNG chance of, for 4 seconds, Pyroblast that always crit, or Flame Strikes that always crit. In single target, they gave you a very short cooldown on your combustion with the talent of Kindling, where your Fire Blast, Fireballs, and Pyros crits reduce the cooldown of your combustion. I guess I should include Phoenix Flames are also included with this expansion. So taking all these cooldown reduction capabilities with a couple of conduits that allow you even more damage during combustion and giving you more combustion windows for Fire Mage, Shifting Power was just the best Covenant choice in order to align the rest of your abilities together into even more cooldown reduction. This probably would have made anybody who wants to play Fire Mage going forward, or even someone who wants to try Fire Mage, be more inclined to need to play the Fae. And that's something that Blizzard, I think, is trying to avoid, the need to play certain Covenants. So if you're someone who wants to play a certain Covenant, you should have the freedom to play it. But if you're someone who feels like you need to play a certain Covenant because you're playing a certain spec, then that's something that's maybe a bit too rigid. And I don't like seeing strong builds getting nerfed, but it is getting nerfed in the beta. It is not getting nerfed in live. It's better to get nerfed now, so then we're able to play with the final build in live. It would have been much worse if a bunch of people decided to play Fire Mage on the live servers, all went Night Fae, and then they nerfed it after they have committed their decision into the Covenant. So, good thing it's getting nerfed early at least. But I still think it's a powerful build. I tried it on the beta. It does still have synergies. It does allow cooldown reduction, just not nearly in as many excessive amounts. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about these changes? And I'll see all of you guys in another video.